Chapter 8, Call to Travel. In my second vision, about a week after the first, the Lord gave me a view of the trials through which I must pass, and told me that I must go and relate to others what He had revealed to me. It was shown me that my labors would meet with great opposition, and that my heart would be rent with anguish, but that the grace of God would be sufficient to sustain me through it all. After I came out of this vision, I was exceedingly troubled, for it pointed out my duty to go out among the people and present the truth. My health was so poor that I was in constant bodily suffering, and to all appearance had but a short time to live. I was only 17 years of age, small and frail, unused to society, and naturally so timid and retiring that it was painful for me to meet strangers. For several days and far into the night I prayed that this burden might be removed from me and laid upon someone more capable of bearing it. But the light of duty did not change, and the words of the angel sound continually in my ears, "Make known to others what I have revealed to you." Hitherto, when the Spirit of God had urged me to duty, I had risen above myself, forgetting all fear and timidity in the thought of Jesus' love and the wonderful work He had done for me. But it seemed impossible for me to perform this work that was presented before me. To attempt it seemed certain failure. The trials attending it appeared more than I could endure. How could I, a child in years, go forth from place to place, unfolding to the people the holy truths of God? My heart shrank in terror from the thought. My brother Robert, but 2 years older than myself, could not accompany me, for he was in feeble health, and his timidity was greater than mine. Nothing could have induced him to take such a step. My father had a family to support, and could not leave his business, but he repeatedly assured me that if God had called me to labor in other places, He would not fail to open the way for me. But these words of encouragement brought little comfort to my desponding heart. The path before me seemed hedged in with difficulties that I was unable to overcome. I coveted death as a release from the responsibilities that were crowding upon me. At length the sweet peace I had so long enjoyed left me, and despair again pressed upon my soul. Encouragement from the brethren. The company of believers in Portland were ignorant concerning the exercises of my mind that had brought me into this state of despondency, but they knew that for some reason my mind had become depressed, and they felt that this was sinful on my part, considering the gracious manner in which the Lord had manifested Himself to me. Meetings were held at my father's house, but my distress of mind was so great that I did not attend them for some time. My burden grew heavier till the agony of my spirit seemed more than I could bear. At length I was induced to be present at one of the meetings in my own home. The church had made my case a special subject of prayer. Father Pearson, who in my earlier experience has opposed the manifestations of the power of God upon me, now prayed earnestly for me and counseled me to surrender my will to the will of God. Like a tender father, he tried to encourage and comfort me, bidding me believe I was not forsaken by the friend of sinners. I felt too weak and despondent to make any special effort for myself, but my heart united with the petitions of my friends. I cared little now for the opposition of the world, and felt willing to make every sacrifice if only the favor of God might be restored to me. While prayer was offered for me that the Lord would give me strength and courage to bear the message, the thick darkness that had encompassed me rolled back, and a sudden light came upon me. Something that seemed to me like a ball of fire struck me right over the heart. My strength was taken away, and I fell to the floor. I seemed to be in the presence of the angels. One of these holy beings again repeated the words, "Make known to others what I have revealed to you." Father Pearson, who could not kneel on account of his rheumatism, witnessed this occurrence. When I revived sufficiently to see and hear, he rose from his chair and said, "I have seen a sight such as I never expected to see." A ball of fire came down from heaven and struck Sister Ellen Harmon right on the heart. I saw it. I can never forget it. It has changed my whole being. Sister Ellen, have courage in the Lord. After this night, I will never doubt again. We will help you henceforth and not discourage you. Fear of self-exaltation. One great fear that had oppressed me was that if I obeyed the call of duty and went out declaring myself to be one favored of the Most High with visions and revelations for the people, I might yield to sinful exaltation and be lifted above the station that was right for me to enjoy, bring upon myself the displeasure of God, and lose my own soul. I had known of such cases, and my heart shrank from the trying ordeal. I now entreated that if I must go and relate what the Lord had shown me, I should be preserved from undue exaltation. Said the angel, "Your prayers are heard, and shall be answered. If this evil that you dread threatens you, the hand of God will be stretched out to save you. By affliction he will draw you to himself and preserve your humility. Deliver the message faithfully, endure unto the end, and you shall eat the fruit of the tree of life and drink of the water of life." After recovering consciousness of earthly things, I committed myself to the Lord, ready to do His bidding, whatever that might be. Among the believers in Maine, it was not long before the Lord opened the way for me to go with my brother-in-law to my sisters in Poland, 30 miles from my home, and while there I had an opportunity to bear my testimony. For 3 months my throat and lungs had been so diseased that I could talk but little, and that in a low and husky tone. On this occasion I stood up in meeting and commenced to speak in a whisper. I continued thus for about 5 minutes, when the soreness and obstruction left me. My voice became clear and strong, and I spoke with perfect ease and freedom for nearly 2 hours. When my message was ended, my voice was gone again till I stood before the people, when the same singular restoration was repeated. I felt a constant assurance that I was doing the will of God, and saw marked results attending my efforts. The way providentially opened for me to go to the eastern part of Maine. Brother William Jordan was going on business to Orrington, accompanied by his sister, and I was urged to go with him. As I had promised the Lord to walk in the path He opened before me, I dared not refuse. The Spirit of God attended the message I bore at this place. Hearts were made glad in the truth, and the desponding ones were cheered and encouraged to renew their faith. At Orrington I met Elder James White. He was acquainted with my friends and was himself engaged in work for the salvation of souls. I also visited Garland, where a large number collected from different quarters to hear my message. Soon after this, I went to Exeter, a small village not far from Garland. Here a heavy burden rested upon me, for which I could not be free until I had related what had been shown me in regard to some fanatical persons who were present. I declared that they were deceived in thinking that they were actuated by the Spirit of God. My testimony was very displeasing to these persons and their sympathizers. Soon after this I returned to Portland, having borne the testimony that God had given me, and experiencing His approbation at every step.